Hi everyone, Bruno Recommends Records here again, and today we're going for the second part of my Berlin travel log. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you and talk about my favorite record shop in Berlin. Here we are, my friends, Firestation Records, best record shop in the whole Berlin in my opinion, well, at least from the ones I already been inside. You see outside you have some DVDs, but you have like the cheaper stuff, like £1, €1 records. So last time the owner was pretty nice with me. He allowed me to record a little bit inside. Let's see if it allows me to do the same. So wish me luck.
Do it again, man. Okay.
I went to Berlin last year around May, and I found out this shop because it was a shop close by the place where my family is living in Berlin at the moment. And I went there, and they're not that big a shop, but they have loads and loads of records for you to explore. So let's say that 3 hours, I barely scratched the surface of everything they have. I went there firstly with almost no budget, just to find out some cheap hit, and I brought some records with me, but the ones I really wanted to buy, I went back in the end of my holiday after I was paid so I could get those specific records. I'm going to show you first the cheap hit that I got last year before we go to what I acquired this year, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's go for this. This is a Polish band called SBB. This is their second album called Nowy Horyzont. I don't know if I'm pronouncing correctly. This is a 1975 Polish stereo OG that came out on Polskie Nagrania Muza label. There you go. And I bought this for £8 and it's in pretty good shape. This comes on the blue labels. Now, for £1, which are the bins that are outside, everything outside is £1. They have also a section in the back where you can get lots of records for £3. For £1, I also got this SBB album, self-titled. This is a 1978 OG on the Amiga label, which is a label that was dedicated to the German Democratic Republic part of Berlin before the wall came down, the Russian part, and they didn't have access to lots of music, so Amiga used to reissue on their label lots of stuff. This is actually an OG. This album came originally on Amiga. It has some tape in here, but this is it. That's the worst part from this buy. The record is in pretty good shape, and I already listened to both of them, and they sound amazing. I also have to say that Amiga label, it's not like the Russian editions, which were made by copying another record and then put it out on the Russian label. No, Amiga would have the masters and then do their mixing, and usually they sound pretty good, some on the verge of the audiophile. Other record that I bought for £1 last year, it was this compilation of John Baez. There you go. And this is a 1981 stereo on Amiga label as well. Dark red labels, because they also have blue labels. I think usually the dark red ones, these ones are the first press and the other ones are reissues. I'm not sure. And I also acquired for £1 also this record from John Baez, which is self-titled as well, like that compilation. But actually this is the Amiga reissue from 1970 of In Concert number 2 of John Baez, which is an album that me and my wife really love. This Amiga label became one thing that usually when I go to Berlin, if I found anything interesting for a really cheap price, like €1, if I say £1, convert to €1, okay, I get it and bring it with me. This was the lot that I bought with me when I first went there with no budget last year. So I went back in the end of the month after I got paid to acquire some stuff that I was really interested, but I didn't have enough cash to bring it with me. And the first one I'm going to show you is the first record of Aphrodite'schild, the band with Vangelis and Demis Roussos on the voice. And this is like a psychedelic pop rock album from 1968. This is a French stereo OG, but from what people on the internet been saying on forums and Facebook groups, it's pretty close to the original Greek edition. This comes on Mercury, which is also the same label for the original Greek edition. There's a slight difference, but it looks almost the same. Now, the one I really wanted to acquire was this. And obviously, I'll show you the cover is a little bit beat up. And that's why it cost not too much, because usually a near mint of this can go for 100 and something pounds. And this is Manfred Mann's Chapter 3, the self-titled album. And this is a UK Vertigo first press. Doesn't bring the Vertigo inner, but the record is not that bad at all. It has some, what you call, some hairlines, but besides a small background noise, which is more noticeable on the quiet parts, the record sounds pretty good. And this one cost me €27. The Aphrodite'schild one cost me 23. Now, I wasn't expecting to get this one, but when I was buying these ones, I saw this on the Latin section. And this is an album that I really wanted to have, me and my wife, and I thought this was like a German press, but actually this is 1974 Brazilian stereo OG with the hype sticker, and this is a gatefold. Let me share like this as well. And this is an album from a Brazilian artist called Martinho da Vila. This is samba, pure samba. And we like the artist, but we only really love this album, which is Canta Canta Minha Gente, and it's a very iconic Brazilian record. The record is in pretty good shape, and it actually brings this like golden sticker from the Brazil shop where it was originally bought. Now, before I was leaving the shop, I looked and he had some new stock, and on the top of it there was this Dark Side of the Moon. This is not an original one, this is the Amiga, that German label I was telling you about. But besides, I became a fan of the Amiga label. This is actually a quadraphonic master, and this is a 1980 red label Amiga edition. And let me tell you, it sounds really, really good, although I don't have the right system to listen the quadraphonic mix. Now, this year I went there just thinking, well, let me do a video in a record shop, and I knew this shop and I really liked it, and I thought I will probably get some cheap heat to bring it with me, like 2 or 3 records, £1, £3, 5, something like that. But while I was looking around the shop, on the walls, they had this record, and I want this record for so long, because let me tell you a story. First time I heard about this band was related with this video on YouTube, and it became one of those so-called cursed videos that if you watched it, you're doomed. Ooh. But actually most of these videos are like artworks that came out in the beginning of YouTube, let's say. And there was this guy, and the song was on the back with some bandages around his face, and he looked like a little bit like a mummy. And then in the end, let's say that he climbed the chair, you don't see anything else, then the chair falls off and his feet start swinging around, and everybody was shocked with it. And someone was saying, I don't know if this is real or not, in the comments, but the band and that song is One Potato, Two Potato, played by a record in Richie's collection that I'm pretty sure I would love to have, and that is a record from the Mummies.
Hey Flanders, look what I got.
So this is the only record from the Mummies where you can find that song. This is a compilation, but a compilation of stuff that they put it out in singles, EPs, or day records. I think they only have 3 LPs. And the B-side is like live stuff, but I think it's also stuff that they never released before. So this is called Running on Empty Volume 1. And it's a 1996 US black vinyl OG that came out on Astrus Records. There's another edition. That one is really hard to find, and I can barely imagine how much people will ask for it on the internet. And that's an edition that the record looks black, but it's kind of purple. So let me show you the back. And this was, let's say that if I could only get one record from this band, this would be the one. So this was on the wall for 65 euros, which is about the price that people are asking in US if you convert it to dollars. But I don't live in the US, and besides acquiring this from US, it's really hard to find a copy being sold in Europe. UK, you don't find any copy of this record, and I've been trying to find one for so long. If you order from Europe or US, you have to add the shipping costs. Some people on US ask for like $23 or $34. I'm not kidding, for the shipping costs, and then you still have an extra tax thanks to Brexit. So the record can go for 80, 90 pounds for me. And to be able to find a copy in this very amazing shape, this is a VG Plus near mint, verging on the near mint, for 65 euros. I would kick myself forever if I didn't bring it with me. So this was the only thing I brought with me, and it kind of reduced my budget until I got paid for the rest of my holiday. But I really needed to get this one because this was like those opportunities. It's now or never. But there was another one in the wall. I kind of asked the owner, which is Juve, I just asked him, look man, just to make me cry, how much are you asking for that record in the wall? And he said 65. And we're talking about Pleasure to Kill from Creator, which is their second LP, and this is a German thrash metal band verging on the death metal, but back then there was only thrash metal. The term death metal was still coming out. And I don't know if you noticed, this record is autographed by the 3 members of the band who recorded this album. So I'm going to show you here in the picture. You have 4 people, but one of them, one of the guitar players, let me see, yeah, Wolf was only a member of the band for 2 days. So he went on this photo session for the album, but he didn't record anything. So the only 3 signatures you have are from the other members of the band, which are Mille Petrosa, guitar vocals, Venter, which is the drums, and those 2 are still in the band nowadays and is still putting out amazing records, and Rob, which I think he left the band around 1992, if I'm not wrong. It's a first press, and I'm telling you, 65 pounds usually, it's what people ask for a first press of this record with no autographs. The only thing is it's missing the insert. But the insert is the easiest part to get, to be honest with you, because the insert is similar to lots of different editions. So maybe one day I'll get like a cheap copy with a really screwed up record, and I just put the record aside, take out the inner and put it in this one. And that's it. This came on Noise Records on 1986, and this is practically near mint. I'm not kidding. And because I went there in the second time with 70 euros, because the ATM didn't give me 65. I remember they had also a record in there that I still didn't have, and I thought, well, the record cost 6 euros. So I asked the guy, if we put this one together with the Creator one, will you make it to 70 euros? And the guy said, perfectly, yeah, let's do it. And I'm talking about the third record from Asia, Astra. And this is not an original UK, this is a 1985 European stereo OG with the hype sticker, which I really love. And came on Geffen Records. This one brings the original inner lyric sleeve. Let me show you. And here you have the record, which is in amazing shape as well. So, this was my story. I hope you enjoyed it. I still have one more video, and that will be my third part of Berlin's travelogue. There you go. See you in my next video. Cheers.